Hey guys, welcome to Massive Iron Live. Welcome to Friday. How you guys doing? Glad you guys are here. It is Friday, August 23rd. I had to check the date. I'm feeling a little bit fuzzy. I think I need to tighten up my shot group a little bit. Been a good training week, been a good training month. Absolutely crushing things. I hope you guys are having some good training. Pin press yesterday, I got in 225 by 5. I'm slowly creeping back up. It's been about 4 months since 4 weeks since I got back into training really full speed the way I like to. So we're doing really good on pin press. Bench press, not too bad. I'm hoping to be back up to 225 by 20. Anyway, enough about me. Massive Iron Live is the longest running live Q&A podcast in the history of the universe. People don't always consider this a podcast. I don't always consider this a podcast, but what the heck else have we been doing for the last 6 years, right? We've been doing a live Q&A podcast. So call it what you want. We're here and we're ready for business, right? We're ready to get it on. If you guys are new here, please don't hesitate to post up any questions or general comments. I don't care. Let me have it. Tell me I'm ugly. Tell me I need to shave. Tell me I'm old. Tell me I'm tall. Tell me I'm short. Whatever you want. Tell me I'm hairy. Anyway, post up your questions. Don't feel like a question has been asked 1,000 times before. And if you are late to the party, you can always head over to Instagram at Ben the Barman, slide into my DM and send a question. I'm available on Instagram any time of the day. I never sleep. I never sleep at all. never sleep at all. But seriously, you can head over to Instagram, post your questions. I will also let you guys know that if you're unaware, you can check out the greatest lifting community in the history of the world, teammassiveiron.com. We have a really good community. I'd love for you guys to join. I'm always looking to grow the community. For those of you that are on the community, don't hesitate to post up your questions. Questions are what I live for. Each day when I go on the community, I'm eagerly seeking out what questions of the day I have, so don't be shy about posting up your questions. So let's get into things today. All right, before we get into things, I got a special this weekend. I have a little bit of extra time, so if anybody is interested in a custom workout, at shoulder day yesterday, my traps are a little bit sore. Anybody interested in a custom workout, let me know. I am offering a deal where if you sign up for a custom workout this weekend, you get a free Massive Iron t-shirt shipped anywhere in the world. Okay, so you can hit me up on email, benthebarman@gmail.com, or hit me up on Instagram at benthebarman, and we can go over all that good stuff. Also, I'm looking to expand I have a few coaching spots, so I'm looking to take on a few people. If you are interested in coaching, you can head over to superlivingtoday.com. Superlivingtoday.com. Check out the coaching tab. I don't do any generic coaching. I was voted the 2023 Online Coach of the Year. I beat out 400,000 other coaches. And the main reason why I took this honor was because of communication. I communicate with my clients every single day. And the value after the first month, it's only $89.40 a month. So I'd love to have you join up. I'd love to work with you. Coaching is what I do sun up to sundown. I get in here at 8 o'clock. I tune into Team Massive and I start working on my coaching, doing my client workouts, etc. I give everything I can for my clients. I'm 100% there for you every single day. I appreciate all of my clients. And I just want to say thank you. I am a couple of things about the coaching service, and I want to share this for my clients or anybody else that's interested. You guys know I've had a $6.99 coaching deal for the last 2 years. You could sign up for coaching for a year for only $699, right? That's going to be going away. I've let everybody know that's going to be going away. But I want to give my clients that are on the yearly special one last chance to get another year at the $6.99. So if you are not coaching right, if you're not working with me right now, or if you are working with me right now and you're locked in a year special, or you're working with me right now and you're not locked in a year special, but you want to save a lot of money, the $6.99 special is still available. It's going to be available for 2 weeks, 2 more weeks, pretty much September 7th-ish. Then I have to take it down because I'm going to be replacing it with an $8.99 special. I'm bumping the price. Hey, I'm just a little bit of price bump. $8.99 for a year coaching is still a pretty big deal. But if any of you want to get in on the $6.99 coaching special, you have 2 weeks to get in. 2 weeks to get another year. After that, I have to deactivate it on the website so no one signs up for it accidentally. And I have to add the $8.99. So it'll be gone in 2 weeks. So I'm just going to show you guys really quick how to sign up or how to find it. If you're an existing client, a new client, whatever, and you want to get in on the $6.99 coaching special, let me just pull that up here. And then I'll get on to sorry about the spiel, the commercial, right? But if you go to my website, superlivingtoday.com, and you go over to the search tab and you search $6.99, okay, just hit $6.99 in the search tab. It's going to take you, to some say sexy people, Lady Scoop Neck. That was probably $6.99. Well, I don't know why it says SECY, but that's sold out. The $6.99 coaching special, if you just search $6.99 over my website, you'll find it. Anybody that's an existing coach on a subscription or existing client on a subscription, if you sign up for it, I'll just cancel your subscription. It'll start officially after your last paid day. So this is going to be up for about 2 more weeks, okay? And then I have to take this down. There will be no more $6.99. If anyone wants to sign up for a year, it's going to be $8.99. You guys can get this, existing clients, whatever, but I just want to let you know, if you have any questions, let me know. All right, let's get into things. By the way, my book, Massive Omnibus, or my book series, Massive Omnibus, is out there. If you haven't checked it out, it's got a ton of information. This isn't just a book. This is a monstrosity, and I'm working on book number 6 this weekend. But if you go over to my website and you search Omnibus, okay, and let's take a look at this real quick. You'll find the Massive Omnibus. Now, it's $99, but you have 5 books so far, and there's going to be 10 total books. These are not small books. Each one has about 300 pages. Here are the first 5. The first book has the new Massive Iron Pillars of Success and a lot of new content. Then we have the Squat and Deadlift book, which is over 300 pages of tips, tricks, and information on squats and deadlifts. Just a monster volume. Then we have the Bench and Chest and Triceps. I believe it's Bench, Chest, and Triceps. What is it? Bench and Chest. Book 4 is Back, Delts, and Arms. And Book 5 is part 1 of Muscle Building. There's a ton of information, a ton of things to try, a ton of workouts, arguably the largest resource on muscle and strength building you'll ever see. So please check that out. I put a ton of time and energy into the Massive Omnibus series. I will be putting out an audiobook on this, and I will be putting out on all of this, all 10 of these books, and I will be putting out these in hardcover. I will be putting out 1 condensed volume, probably about 400 pages of all the new and best content as well. So that will be kind of the Massive Omnibus condensed. So look for that. All right, let's get on to things. Let's see what we got going on. Yvonne from Team Massive. How's it going, Yvonne? Glad to have you here. Big Jimmy Cooksworth. Good morning. Romanian deadlift depth is lacking. You don't seek depth in the Romanian deadlift. So let's clarify. Romanian deadlift is not about how low you go. Romanian deadlift is about driving your glutes back to load the hamstrings. As soon as those glutes can no longer move back, you're done. You're not trying to go lower. It's not like the person who goes the lowest on the Romanian deadlift wins the grand prize. That's not what it's about. and this is a common misconception, misunderstanding about the Romanian deadlift. You drive your glutes back to load the hamstring. Think about if you were pushing your butt back to push somebody behind you. That's how you approach the Romanian deadlift. You do not, it's not about how far you can bend over and lower the weight. That's not what it's about at all. Big Joe B, good morning. Joe B is a client of mine. And Harris. Always good to see Harris. One of my favorite people on Team Massive Iron. Happy weekend to you, sir. Farmers carries with or without wrist wraps. So the question is, what is the goal of the farmer's carry for you? Is it to increase your grip strength? Is it to really tax your yoke, your back and your traps and all that kind of good stuff? Is it both? Generally, for most people, the goal is to really tax your yoke, right? You're still going to work your grip even with wrist wraps and things like Versa grips or Cobra grips. I would tell you, because elbow tendonitis is the biggest issue, that I would wear straps. I don't want things slipping, right? I don't want grip to be the limiter. I want the weight I'm carrying or moving to be the limiter. So I would 100% tell you to use straps. If you want to train your grip, let's do something else to train our grip, right? We can do the Captains of Crush grippers. We can do pinch gripping. For those of you guys that aren't familiar with grip training, you have different types of grip training. You have the Crush, which is like the Captains of Crush grippers. You can get those reasonably inexpensive. That's a great tool to have. And then you can get, there are different types of pinch grip. So you can take plates, you can hold one plate, two plates together. You have the thumb and the, whatever this finger is, whoever, I don't know what the name of the fingers are. I'm not right, looking like an idiot. You know, your thumb and this stupid ass finger, right? You're doing your pinch grip. You can do pinch grip with a thumb and two fingers, pinch grip with a thumb and three fingers. You can't really do four because it doesn't work that way, but you can work on your pinch grip with a plate or two plates, okay? And then you can work on your static holds. You can hang off a barbell. You could just hold a barbell. So basically there are three ways to train your grip. If you want to train your grip, we don't really want to train it during farmer's carries. We don't really want to train it during deadlifts or rows. That's kind of backwards. We want to build up our back. We want to build up our yoke. We want to build up those big areas. And then if we want to train our grip, we train it afterwards. Does that make sense? All right, another one from Big Harris. Dumbbell shrug, standing or seated? It doesn't matter. I mean, the key thing I would, is that we're challenging the body and we get progressive over whatever works for you. I have a couple clients that do them seated. I don't particularly find doing them seated to be pleasant. If you can get into position seated, that's fine. I think standing is easier because when I'm done, I can just go re-rack the dumbbells or set them down or whatever. So it doesn't matter. Things like this are what we call the minors. You do whatever you want on those. It doesn't matter. Which of your dogs like to work out with you? That would be Chichi Morongo. That would be Chichi Morongo. Which of our dogs like to work out? My wife's coming down here. There's Chichi Morongo right on cue. Morongo, where are you, buddy? Oh, buddy, come here, Morongo. You haven't been on live in a while, Morongo. Hi, Morongo. You're right on cue, buddy. How you doing? Somebody's happy to see Dad. This is my dog right here. This is the guy that loves me more than the other dogs. So this is Chichi Morongo. He is such a sweet little boy. When I got him, you could tell somebody had abused him. The breeder had abused him, and he was just terrified and scared of everybody. He shakes to this day. But this is Chichi Morongo. He's the best little boy I ever did know.
Big Bubsy.
All right, Chichi Morongo, I'm going to set you down.
This
is Bubba, the original sausage. Oh, he weighs a whole ton. He's a loaf. Bubba's the biggest loaf.
Blue.
Hi, Bubba. Say hi to the massive iron world. Bubba's a good boy. Bubba's a sweet boy. Nothing bothers Bubba. But nothing bothers Bubba at all. Bubba's favorite hobbies are eating chocolate and having his belly rubbed. Right? Oh, Bubba, you're a fat loaf. Oh, my God. Ah, geez. All right, this is Bluey Skidooey. This is Bluey Skidooey. He's a long sausage.
No.
Bluey's a good boy. Bluey's a sweet boy as well. Hi, Bluey. Say hi. He's a beautiful dog. You can see browns and grays. We call him Blue because it's almost blue. And he's a really good dog. He's our last dog, our newest dog.
He's one.
You got a claw in my throat.
He's a bit crazy.
And this is Snoopy Poopy. Snoopy is a guardian of the galaxy. He's like the knight of the castle. He's got a big chest. He's super strong. He's super ferocious, and he lets everybody know to stay away because I am watching. What's going on, Morongo? This is Snoopy Doo. Oh, I got tongues all up in my stuff. All right.
Come on, boys.
And this is
boys. Up, boys.
And this is my wife who popped in.
Oh.
She's being rude. She won't even. I'm all covered in dog stuff. Hey.
How, what a shame.
How are you doing? How come you got such a golden tan and I'm so white?
Because I'm lucky.
You're from Australia. You're not lucky. You're from Australia.
We're blessed that way.
No, yours white as a sheet. I think she has some magical tanning solution on.
I do, because I'm not stupid. I don't want to go with ghost legs.
Does that mean I'm stupid because I don't have a magical tan?
Do you
be careful how you
expose your legs or
you know what?
Abdomen? No.
My wife
doesn't matter.
My wife just brought me down something magical. This is the vanilla churro. And look, we got a backup
Well, they were 2 for $6. You can't just buy one if they're 2 for $6.
No, you have to buy 2, and
because they're so expensive.
Yeah, they are expensive, but thank you, I appreciate that. So that was right in time. They said, "Which of your dogs like to work out with you?"
I think they're all lazy.
My wife doesn't like to work out with me.
No, because you're boring. You don't tell funny stories like my gym teachers.
I tell funny stories. You just don't think they're funny.
Well, I had a funny story this morning.
You got hit by a cop. That wasn't funny.
The policeman ran up the back side of me.
Well, wait, you got to rephrase that. The policeman did not go up the back side of you. The policeman hit your back of your car.
And he wasn't looking.
Let's be careful. This is PG-13.
And then I got out and I went, what? Why are you? Oh, I'm sorry.
Was he in a cop car or was he in his personal vehicle?
He was in his personal car. He goes, what?
She got hit by a cop. Did we just not get hit by a cop on Friday?
At a stop sign when I'm stopping, and then I rolled up to see if there was a car, because like another car was pulled out too far, and I'm like, and then he went crash, and I went boom.
You know what?
And then I got out,
crash
and he goes, I'm so sorry.
You better be sorry.
I'm a police at some station. I said, I don't even know.
You know what?
That is.
I'm happy you got hit by a police officer, not a meth addict with an unregistered vehicle.
He had this truck, and his bonnet was like
his bonnet
is this tall as my head.
His bonnet.
And then I said, no wonder I have a dent in the top of my boot. Because his thing is like this high.
Yeah. And for those of you guys that need a translator, boot in English means trunk.
And then I said, and what is this? What is this dent thing? He goes, that's just because something's there. I went, okay.
All right. Well, I'm going to finish live and you try not to get any more car accidents.
No, it's the policeman.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
All right. All right. Where were we, guys? You got to meet my dogs, and you got to hear the story of my wife smashing her car up. Yeah, I know the policeman hit her. Wife sprained her ankle, minor stuff. A week rest has been advised. Could she do it? Yeah, absolutely. Just whenever you got a lower body injury, you just have to kind of do a really moderate warm-up set to make sure that area is not going to be aggravated. If you're doing something like bench or dumbbell bench, and you got dog hair all over me, surprise, surprise. If you're doing something like bench or dumbbell bench, And you don't want to really place your feet on the ground, put a lot of pressure. You can do something more larceny or relax the feet. You might have to lower the weight a little bit, but absolutely, just be smart. Barbell Beauty, how's it going? Good morning, Team Massive. Happy Freitag. I wonder what my students are going to say when I tell them I bench. That's incredible. Barbell Beauty has been on Team Massive for quite a while, and I've watched her transformation, her strength and body transformation. Truly inspirational. So if you guys want to come over and be a part of this community and see some amazing people like her, and this dog hair right here is bothering me right now. All right. Big Jimmy Cooksworth. What occurs psychologically if you work a muscle group without progressive overload? Nothing. It's like if you're not, a muscle will condition itself, and this is a dumbed down way of putting it, but it'll stay in stasis. Like the body wants to stay in stasis, right? That's the most efficient place to be. If you start walking 5 miles a day, the body is going to get up to speed. It's going to adapt muscular, conditioning wise, heart wise, all the stuff, right? And so it becomes more efficient. So there's less recovery time, less impact. It's going to adapt to the stresses you put under it, right? So if you're not progressively challenging it to a greater degree, there's no need for it to continue to adapt. Does that make sense? If you went to the gym, like let's say you went to the gym and you just did 50-pound dumbbell benches, you got up to 50-pound dumbbell benches, and then you held steady. There's no additional stimulus to push your body, right? There's nothing new for it to adapt. It's going to stay there. There's no reason for it to become massive and powerful if you're just tossing around 50s. And here is where a lot of the fitness influencers and dum-dum coaches and a lot of the nonsense you see in the fitness industry and the muscle building industry, they lose track of basic human physiology. If you're moving more weight, the body is going to adapt. It has to adapt, or else you're going to get injured. So we obviously don't want to move weight recklessly because we're using, other things other than our muscles. We want to focus things. We want to be safe. We want to have training sustainable. But this is why progressive overload is key. There are things you can add into your training, like you could add a superset tomorrow, but the body is going to adapt to that addition of the superset within a couple of weeks. And if you're not progressively overloading or adding weight after that, there's no reason for it to continue to grow. So adding another set is a form of progressive overload, but it's not a sustainable form of progressive overload. You can't continue to add sets. You're going to run out of time or you're going to break down. You could try to push it and add sets as much as you could till you could no longer stand it, but you're going to live in the gym. You're going to beat your body up. There are forms of progressive overload that aren't an increase in weight, but all of them are very, very limited in how far you can actually progress. You can reduce rest in between sets, but when it becomes so small that it becomes impossible to, you can't just rest 1 second in between a set on bench press, right? You can't rack and then shake out your arms and then unrack it. It's going to take longer than a second. It doesn't work like that. So the fundamental cornerstone of progressive overload is increase in weight. You can decrease the rest in between sets. You can add volume. You can add an intensity technique like a drop set. But this is not bad things. They can encourage hard training. But you can't continue to add infinite drop sets. You can't continue to reduce rest in between sets to infinity, right? To an infinitely small. Everything comes back eventually to progressive overload of weight. Does that make sense? So what occurs physiologically if you work a muscle without overload? Well, initially, if you're untrained, you're going to get stronger and you're going to add a little bit of muscle, right? But once your body has adapted, and I don't know the specific period of time, but we can reasonably say over the course of 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks maximum, if you just start lifting, your body's going to adapt to that weight if you don't continue to progressively overload. And then when you're a beginner, you toss in the neurological adaptation or the improvement of the efficiency of the central nervous system. If you haven't ever lifted, your central nervous system, and this is a dumbed down take, is not hyper efficient at communicating because it doesn't expect you to do something radical like continue to move heavy weight. So it'll become more and more efficient. And this is a neurological adaptation when you're starting to lift. So you'll get a little bit stronger just due to the central nervous system adaptation. Your body's like, oh, we need to improve the level of communication because there are constant stresses every day. And we need to become more efficient at calling into play the muscle tissue. Because this is what happens when people don't warm up. If you went into the gym and just bench 200, the body doesn't know you're about to bench 200. So you unrack the weight. And in the middle of a set, red alarms and red alerts and all kinds of things, like this is heavy. Your body's trying to react. It hasn't been eased into things. It hasn't slowly tickled the central nervous system or stimulated the central nervous system to make it up, to wake it up, to make it more aware of what's coming. When you do a warm-up, a system, a set of warm-up sets, or you have a warm-up set structure, the body is going to slowly wake up that central nervous system so you're recruiting a maximum amount of muscle fibers. You can't just go into the gym and grab 200 pounds on the bench press and expect your body to know that and automatically recruit a maximum amount of muscle fibers. In the meantime, you're increasing, in the meantime, you're increasing the risk of injury until your body is able to recruit a maximum amount of muscle fibers. So that's why we do a proper warm-up. When I'm working with clients and they're not doing a proper warm-up protocol, I plead with them, come on, we got to do this. There's a reason why we do this. It's to stimulate the central nervous system. Anyway, we're going down a rabbit trail. But some of the initial strength increases you will see, and you know, we don't want to overstate this because beginner gains are a real thing, but some of the strength is going to be central nervous system in nature, but still you're still going to be packing on muscle because as you progressively overload as a beginner, your body's like a sponge when it comes to sponging up resistance training. It's going to respond. So it's very important right out of the gate that you nail your nutrition and you are not messing around. The best thing you can do as a beginner, and this is what I did, and this is why I experienced quality gains right out of the gate, is because I went off to college. I trained hard. I trained progressively. No one told me what to do. I just did it. I tried to improve over my last workout by a rep. And I had access to a cafeteria, which was basically all you could eat. And I was an 18-year-old boy. Like, I'm going to eat everything, right? So over 2.5 years, my weight went from like 154, 156 to like 186. I gained 30 pounds on the scale and a ton of muscle because I was training progressively with progressive overload. And I had an excess of food. And I did not get fat. I ended up about 16% body fat. I was actually leaner than when I started, and I wasn't doing any calculated bulk. But because of the muscle mass that I added to my body and the minimal amount of fat gain I had, you know, I probably added 20, 22 pounds of muscle and maybe a couple, 2-3 pounds of fat. But because most of it was muscle, I looked so much leaner. All right, I hope that helps a little bit. Stein, how's it going? Stein, good morning. Eric, the Beard of Redness, good morning. White Monster Friday. I have no monsters. I'm doing the old humongous glass the size of, I don't know, what's a small state? Connecticut? Something, I don't know. So, no purple monsters for me. Big Justin Jones. Good morning, Big Hairy Ugly Dude and Team Massive. Squatting with a belt, can it help? Can you focus more on your legs? Not necessarily, no. A squat is going to be a squat. So if you can't focus without a belt, a belt's not going to make any difference. A belt just helps you stay tight. You should be able to stay tight without a belt. If not, adding a belt isn't really going to help you stay tight. You need to learn to stay tight without a belt. Once you understand proper bracing and proper form, then adding a belt might be beneficial, might not. I don't find a belt beneficial. I find it more annoying, but it's highly individual. But neither is going to help you focus on your legs. What's going to help you focus on your legs is good quality form and staying tight, if that makes sense. Martin, client of mine, happy Friday, Team Massive and all who sail her. Shout out to everyone who's had a sucky week, but put the damn work in anyway. Absolutely. That's one of the best things anyone could say. That's one of the things we need to hear. I'm not a guy that wants excuses. I really don't want to hear your excuses unless it's a valid excuse. The neighbor ran over your dog, valid excuse for being upset, right? You didn't feel like working out, that's not a valid excuse. That's when I hear somebody saying, I don't feel like working out, I'm like, I don't feel like working out either. So we're brothers in that sense, right? I would rather sit around eating food, drinking beer, watching movies, and doing nothing, right? Wouldn't we all? I mean, at some point initially. I mean, I like working out, but, do I always feel like working out? No, absolutely not. Absolutely. I don't always feel like working out. So when someone says they don't feel like working out, that's fine. But when they use it as an excuse not to work out, it's no different than I don't feel like brushing my teeth. I don't feel like changing my underwear. That's great. Pay the price. Whenever you should be doing something and you don't do it, there's a price to pay, right? If you don't lift weights, if you don't take care of yourself, there is a price to pay. You don't have to lift weights to be healthy and live a long life, but it sure does have benefits. And if you don't do it, there's a price to pay. And if you don't feel like doing it, that's fine. At least you were honest. But if you don't do it, then I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear your excuses. Been a while since I tuned in. Glad to be back. Appreciate you joining in. When doing pull-ups, do you recommend locking out at the bottom? One of the biggest mistakes on the pull-up is that it's a very much a cheated exercise, a sloppy exercise. It's very much, how would you say it? When we talk about exercises that people aren't getting the most out of, pull-ups are one that is at the top of the list. You want to get full arm extension, a slight back stretch, and then drive the elbows back. You want to be very meticulous. You want to be very disciplined. You want to be very controlled. Go all the way down, get a slight back stretch, and then drive your elbows down and pull up, right? The people that kind of do rapid and the rapid turnaround, we're putting a lot of unwanted stress, generally on our bicep tendon and other areas, and we're not focused, right? The point of muscle building is to build muscle. The point is to build muscle, not to accumulate reps. To build muscle, we need progressive overload. But we can't be sloppy, right? Because when we are sloppy, it's creating noise. It's diffusing the focus. It's taking a quality exercise and like they do in CrossFit, doing the swingy, jingy, jangly, whatever pull-up things they're doing. That's fine. If that's you want to get good at doing the swingy, jingy, jangly thing on pull-ups, that's fine. But we want to be focused. not just for muscle building, but for strength. And I want you to hear me. You do not want to be sloppy. Muscle building, muscle is the platform for strength. So this doesn't just apply to somebody that wants to build muscle. This applies to people that want to get stronger. Focus your reps. When you're doing seated cable rows, and I give speeding tickets to my clients every day. You were not just about moving weight through space rapidly to accumulate reps. We're about controlling it down, getting a slight back stretch, driving it back. This is not going to make you weaker. This is going to help your joints. This is going to focus your efforts, right? If you think you can't get strong on controlled seated cable rows without that torso doing this, right? What you typically see is someone moving fast, their torso's going down, initiating a seated cable row. They do this and then they pull. They're doing a lower back extension before they're driving the elbows back. It's all slops, right? It's just a mess of sloppiness. You think you can't get strong, focused. You are wrong. That's how I built my base and all of my strength. On the seated cable row, I'm controlling it down, getting a slight back stretch, right? Right here, you see the shoulders moving forward. Then I'm initiating by driving the elbows and shoulders back. When you drive the elbows and shoulders back, I can feel the back working. But you do it with power, not so much power where you're jerking and you're losing mechanical tension. There's a lane for power, okay? The lane for power is not so powerful that you're jerking and you lose all mechanical tension. In muscle building, we want enough power to facilitate a good feel, to facilitate progressive overload without getting sloppy. So there's kind of a lane with power on certain lifts. Seated cable row, power. Lat pull down, power, right? Power, but not jerkiness, not sloppiness. Now, on the big compound movements, like the bench, when you're pushing the bar off your chest, you have to generate maximum power, but it is focused. You can't get sloppy on a bench and slops it up, so to speak. You can't get sloppy on a bench press and force it up. So not every exercise is different in this sense. The same with a squat. You can't be in the hole and just get and use English or sloppy it up, right? You can't do that. It doesn't work that way. So the big kind of compound movements are a little bit different in that nature. But on a lat pull down, you could really rock your body and gain momentum and gain some acceleration and then drive the elbows down. That's how people do things incorrectly. On a lat pull down, they're like, wow, they're pulling their torso back and they're doing a fully accelerated back extension before they're driving their elbows back. And then I'll tell them, stop, focus, lead with driving your elbows and shoulders back. But I can't do as much weight. Yeah, but you're going to actually build some muscle and real strength over the long run. This applies to everyone. The strongest power lifters in the world, almost to a person, are the biggest power lifters. This is not speculation. This is science. This is research. This is reality. If you have a bunch of power lifters at a certain weight, 200 pounds, the one that has the most muscle mass is almost always going to be the strongest. So if you are just in it for strength, you better take your muscle building seriously. I will repeat, if you're just in it for strength, you better take your muscle building seriously. I see this with a lot of guys that come to me for strength. They just want to move weight, and that's fine. But you have to move the weight with focus. Let's build the muscle base. Let's take care of our joints. And on pull-ups, it's the same thing. There are so many sloppy pull-ups. There are so many people abusing the lift. There are so many people that just want to get reps and they want to ego lift with 45 or 50 or 60 pounds, weighted pull-ups, but their pull-ups look like crap. And they're not getting sure, you can move the weight. If it was a contest to do a 1 rep max, this would be your 1 rep max attempt. And you did it. Great. But when you're building your base, if you really want to get good at pull-ups, you should do them disciplined, Focus. So number one, we're not beating up our joints. Number two, we're building strength with focus, right? We're going all the way down. We're getting a slight back stretch, and then we're driving the elbows down. If you do these quick turnaround things, it's just not what we want to do for muscle building. There's a difference between muscle building and exercising, right? If you're racing to see how many burpees you can get done, that's fine. Knock them out. Be sloppy. If you're racing to see how many pull-ups you can get done, fine. Knock them out. Get sloppy. If you're trying to build muscle, focus. Focus and slow down and do them right. How should I set up my belt squat for best ROM? I would have to see your belt squat. I mean, the thing that's confusing me here, and it's not a criticism at all, is that usually range of motion on a belt squat is not an issue. Don't worry about quad stimulus. It's all going to be part of your quads are going to be stimulated. As long as you're not trying to do some super wide stance thing, just have a natural stance. You want to have your knees, basically your knee is over your toe angle is pointed out a little bit. Just control the weight down. You don't have to overly slow it, but you want to control it down. You'll be absolutely fine. That's really all you need. As far as range of motion, if there's an issue with your belt squat where you don't feel like you can get deep enough, send me a video. I'd like to take a look at it. What are some general principles for incorporating cardio into my program? Number one, do what you love. Do the form of cardio that you love. Doesn't matter what it is. There's no magic form of cardio, right? There's no, this is the magic form that's going to fat burn more than anything else now. Like the difference, there is obviously a difference in forms of cardio. But the difference in how many calories they burn is super trivial. Number one, you want to enjoy it. Number two, it has to be sustainable. That's really the key. You don't want to do cardio before you lift, and some people take that the wrong way. You can do 5 to 10 minutes of steady state that doesn't get your heart rate too elevated, just to bring your body temperature up if you feel you need to, and to grease the groove a little bit. But you don't want to do extended cardio before weights. Weights are always a priority. You can do cardio first thing in the morning. You can do it after lifting. You can do it off days. There's no rules, right? As long as you're not doing cardio before you lift, you're absolutely fine. Big Drew, what's the biggest eye roll that you've ever had this week from your client work or social media? I don't know, man. Like, I think half my eyes have progressively overloaded to the point where I think my eye roll has become like Jedi Master eye roll. There's just so much nonsense. The biggest one this week is, I'm just going to say it. Dr. Mike saying hammer curls are not effective. This is absolutely a ridiculous statement. This is the stuff that irritates me. We have a perfectly good lift with a good progression opportunity. Any lift that you can focus and feel the biceps on, that has a good solid progression opportunity, is a reasonable lift. There's no reason to demonize hammer curls. The important thing to remember, and this is what we teach in the Massive Iron world, is that you want a quality group of exercises applied over a long period of time. So when influencers like Dr. Mike get on and they say the hammer curl is not effective, not a good lift, I'm like, come on. This is an awful statement. This is a type of gatekeeping nonsense that this industry needs to flush. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't listen to Dr. Mike, and I'm not saying he doesn't teach a lot of good things. We're not like that, right? We're not trying to witch hunt. I'm focused on this one statement. It's absolutely wrong in every way. It's confusing. It's the worst of the worst. And it's nonsense. I don't care how many times an influencer gets on there and says, science-based, science, science-based, science, science-based. You can't just frame something science-based and ignore the history of lifting, ignore common sense, and ignore the reality that a quality group of exercises is what's most important for a muscle group. The big picture. What are all the exercises you're doing for your biceps? I do massive curls with an easy bar. I do dumbbell curls. I do, sometimes I do reverse lat pull downs that are bicep focused. I do seated incline curls. I do hammer curls. I did hammer curls last night. If you start off by feeling the biceps when you initiate, I can feel the biceps and it has a good progression opportunity, right? The big picture, if you have a quality group of exercises, and this is one of the pillars of success in my world, the Massive Iron world. You can check out the new pillars of success in my book, Massive Omnibus. If you have a quality group of exercises, you are fine. This is common sense. Are we attacking a muscle group with a quality group of exercises? Or did we wake up today and some influencers like, I'm going to analyze the worst and best exercise. No, worst and best is not an exercise. Worst and best is the big picture. Okay, so you head into the gym and you're going to work your chest, but you're only going to use cable crossovers, pec deck, and dumbbell flies. Okay? They're all okay exercises. But what is the big picture? The big picture is you are missing a few things. You don't have any barbell exercises. You don't have any big hitting dumbbell exercises. You don't have any quality machine exercises. You're just seeking the lowest tier, right? It's not that they're bad exercises, right? It's not that they're bad exercises. But if somebody seeks the lowest or easiest, the least common denominator, the least impactful of all exercises, they don't have a quality grouping of exercises. That person might say, I can feel and I'm doing volume great, but you don't have a lot of progressive overload opportunity on a dumbbell fly or a cable fly compared to the bench press, compared to the dumbbell bench. That doesn't mean they're not good last place exercises. But if you're going to put together a quality grouping of exercises, you need for chest some big hitter like a barbell and a dumbbell, maybe dips, maybe a machine chest press, right? So the eye roll, whenever one of these influencers, these YouTube celeries, these science-based gurus gets on there and puts down a perfectly good exercise, be it the hammer curl or the squat. I've seen him put down the Pendley row. Like the Pendley row, I didn't discover the Pendley row until about 15 years ago. I love the lift because I can really crush my back. I can feel my back. Do you have to like the Pendley row? No. But it is a perfectly good exercise for the back with a big progression opportunity. And if you get your Pendley row up to like 405 by 5, what do you think your deadlift's going to be? If you can bend over and drive a weight to your chest, strength builds strength. And this strength, when it's focused, is going to build muscle. This is what we call common sense. I'm going to overanalyze everything and label Pendley rows as a bad exercise. No, they're not a bad exercise. They're a great exercise. If you can Pendley row 365 pounds for 4 sets of 6, how big are you going to be? It doesn't exist in a vacuum, obviously. But if you are able to attack that, and it's part of a big quality selection of exercises, you're going to be big. You're going to have a big back. You can't just have lighter. This is the stuff that is seriously eye roll. But a lot of people fall into it. A lot of people want to drink that Kool-Aid. Dr. Mike, science-based, says Pendlay rows are a bad exercise. No, they're not. Dr. Mike says hammer curls are a bad exercise. No, they're not. That doesn't mean you need to use them. They're great exercises. What is the definition of a good exercise, right? Nearly every reasonable exercise is worth using if you like it. And if we have a quality selection of exercises, there's nothing wrong with the hammer curl. There's certainly nothing wrong with the Pendlay row. It's the opposite of a bench press. You're pulling weight. I can feel my back working. Some people think on the rows that I'm just being randomly explosive and not feeling my back working. My focus is 100% my back. On a Pendlay row, every rep, I'm thinking, drive my elbows and shoulders back, drive my elbows and shoulders back. I can feel the back working. My torso and my head are staying locked in. On a barbell row, when you're up and your torso's moving around, that becomes a little bit more difficult. So if you want to know what my eye roll is, it's this gatekeeping with exercises. I'm the one that's going to tell you which exercises are good and which exercises are bad. News for you. If you don't believe me, look at the history of lifting. What are the common exercises that you see in the history of lifting? Lifters that have built a lot of muscle. If you use big, juicy exercises with barbells and dumbbells and machines and whatever, and you're training hard, and it has a huge progressive overload opportunity, and you get really strong on that exercise, that is the heart of muscle building. As long as the exercise feels natural for you. It's not like if you think you're going to use a Pendlay row and get it up to 315 pounds for 3 sets of 8, and it's not going to build quality back muscle, what planet are you on? You are getting voted off the island because this is a dumb statement. If you get your Pendlay row up to that level, you're going to be incredibly strong, and strength is going to transfer over to muscle building. It's not complicated. You don't need a study and you don't need fake science because this is pseudoscience. Science has its foot wedged in reality. This is what we're seeing in the gym. Let's study it. We should be asking why. Not ruling out exercise because some jackass did a study somewhere, or our opinion on the biomechanics, it doesn't feel good for us. That's fine. Don't use it. You need to use a quality group of exercises that allow for progressive overload. And if you do that, you are going to be fine. Paul, good morning, Team Massive. All right, guys, we are 54 minutes in. Wow, we're just getting up to noon. I've been rolling this today. So before we move forward, I'm going to get a drink. Don't hesitate to give me your off-topic opinions, whatever. If you think I'm an idiot, let me know. We'll have a good civil discussion. I can't tell you how many times I will post a statement on things like hammer curls or Pendlay rows, and I get attacked because the person is in the camp of Dr. Mike. I want you guys to be in no camp. I want you to be in Camp Gains. I want you to be in the camp that is about common sense. I want you to be in the camp that is about the history of lifting. When you look at the history of lifting, all you need, that'll teach you. That is what I'm all about. I started writing way back when, 20 years ago, my forum, my website, Muscle and Brawn, which I no longer own. And then I became a writer in the industry. All the stuff, all the programs I've studied, all the books on my shelf, I got tons of books. All the classic books are behind me. I could just pull them off from the 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s. If you look back, way back in the 50s and 60s, these guys were relying on the big hitters. Very focused barbell and dumbbell work. Arnold was. Lou was. 70s and 80s they were. Nothing wrong with machines. But when we look at the history of lifting, you didn't have some knucklehead trying to talk you out doing a hammer curl. They had more common sense. They'd show you how to maximize a hammer curl. Good content opens doors for you. Good content says, I'm going to show you how to put together a quality group of exercises for you. And you know what? That quality group allows you to use a pet exercise that somebody else might not like, because this isn't life or death, right? Quality content, quality muscle building information opens doors for you. It relieves pressure. It allows you to train and enjoy it. It doesn't have all this gatekeeping bullshit where you're so afraid of exercises and so afraid of training splits that you're handcuffed and confused. This is wrong, folks. This is everything we should stand against. It's inherently wrong, because if you train hard using a quality grouping of exercises, you progressively overload and you nail your nutrition, you are going to get big. That's the reality. These are the massive iron pillars of success. What are the massive iron pillars of success? Did I pull them out of my ass? No. What I did was look at the last 70 years of lifting and say, what are the commonalities? What are the common things driving success between all lifters? It's not your training split. More than that, it requires a long time to build muscle, and you're going to have different seasons in your life where you're going to use different training splits. It's not your training split. It's not one specific exercise. Over the last 38, 39 years, I've used every exercise. I've tried them all. The ones I like, I stick with. The ones I don't stick with. As long as you are really challenging yourself with hard training and you're not trying to avoid challenge, you're embracing challenge, you're going to be fine. You need to ignore all this gatekeeping nonsense. It's toxic. It's the worst of the worst. We need to do away with it. Unfollow these people. If you're confused, then you've fallen into the pit that these gatekeepers want you in, right? There is a magic selection of exercises, and I will show you because hammer curls isn't it. Okay, I'm scared now, and I'm going to listen to you. You tell me what exercises are right for me. This is nonsense. Use common sense. A quality selection of exercises. I can't tell you how many times I've seen some lifters set aside an exercise because some dipshit on this box acted like a gatekeeper and told them they shouldn't do it when it's a reasonable exercise. Shelly, good morning. Client of mine. Big Paul, thanks, Paul. Paul's on Team Massive as well. I have a purple monster on me. Thank you, Paul. I sincerely appreciate it. Lee, what's the most unhinged thing you've ever seen in a gym? Oh, wow. There's been a lot of crazy things I've seen in a gym. I think looking back, the thing that probably irritated me the most, me and my wife started going to an LA Fitness many, many years ago before the pandemic. We went in there to do some morning workouts. And there's a dude with his headphones in, just yelling and singing, singing, whatever it is, rap lyrics. And nothing against rap. You know, it could have been metal. It could have been country. Who cares? But they're doing their stuff the whole time. Like, could you just shut up? Could you just be reasonable and shut your yap hole? Be respectful, you little cake of twattiness. I was trying to say something that wouldn't sound offensive. I mean, my blood is like boiling, and once it gets up to my eyes, you get to a point where you're like, I want to take his headphones and shove it sideways, right? That's when you like, not like you want to be violent, but when you get to that point where you're like, you're starting to like mentally envisioning it. I think that's one of the most unhinged things. Somebody that was so disruptive, disrupting the entire gym. That's when you want a WWE match to break out and you want to start suplexing people and giving them stone cold stunners and all kinds of things. Nolan, what's your favorite dad joke? I don't know, man. I'm not a dad joke guy. I have nothing against them, but like, I've heard one of the competitions that my wife does a lot of competitions, pinup competitions, and there's one of the judges that does a lot of dad jokes. I suck at dad jokes. You guys tell me a dad joke and I'll read it. Post a dad joke in the comments. I'll read it. Rat race. And Nolan's a client of mine, by the way. If you've had past abductor muscle injuries, should you deadlift? Yeah, I mean, anytime you have let's say you've been lifting for 10 years, right? And you have a history of good results, you're going to have an injury history of strains and pains. Strains and pains are part of the journey. If you think removing quality exercises are going to limit strains and pains, it's wrong. It won't. Training hard is going to come with punishment. We just have to mitigate that a little bit. Does that make sense? So you don't have to use a deadlift. You don't have to use a squat. But on the other hand, if we think removing exercises is going to somehow wrap us in bubble wrap when we're training hard, it's probably not the case. Does that make sense? Richard, greetings. Apart from ramping, how do you warm up? I don't do anything. If you want to do face pulls or, some kind of pre-activation like leg curls, I don't do that. I just do warm-up sets. That's just the way I like to lift. There's no right or wrong. As long as you're attacking the gym with progressive overload, you're fine. Nick, how's it going? Big Nick is here. Nick is an individual I coached. He is a Special Olympian, an amazing deadlifter. And Nick and I go way back, and it's good to see you here, Nick. Big Billy Baker. Can't recommend coaching with Steve enough. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Massive Iron community is tremendous, but one-on-one coaching is the next level. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. If any of you are interested in coaching, please email me, benthebarman@gmail.com, or hit me up on Instagram at benthebarman. I'm a small business, and, if you have somebody you support on social media that puts out good information, these guys are small businesses, and I can't recommend supporting the good guys enough. The guys that you appreciate, with your time and money and energy. If you want to know what this is apart from Bill's statement, but we were talking about things that trigger or things that bother me or cause me to. Here's something that bothers me. If there is an influencer or YouTube personality that bothers someone they don't like, yet they're constantly watching their content and supporting their content when they could be supporting the content of the good guys, that bothers me, right? That bothers me. What you do with your time is important. And this is not about me, right? Because I have a good quality, I have a good business, I'm happy with my business, I have a successful small business, and a good community, and I love all you guys. I do. I couldn't ask for more. But when I see people following and sharing the bad content, like if you don't like Dr. Joel Seedman and you think he's a knucklehead, but you're consuming all of his content and pasting his videos everywhere, somewhere there's a small content producer that has something to say. Hey, if you find that stuff entertaining, watch it. Watch it. But also give these small content producers a fair shake. You know, you're supporting these guys, you're putting money in their pocket. If you think they're an idiot, the best thing you can do is detach. Big Nick, how you doing? I'm doing good, Nick. I hope you're doing well, and I hope your training's going well. Justin, how did you get such a strong dumbbell row? Number one, VersaGrip Pros. For a long time, from like 1989 to like 2004, 15 years, I just did 100s to 120s for 3 sets of 10. And, you know, at some point your grip is going to be slightly limiting, right? Straps help, but also the reality that you can use power on a dumbbell row and it's not inherently sloppy. That's kind of one of the nonsense ideas out in the industry, that power is not feel. You know, I up my standards on a dumbbell row. As long as you're focusing on driving the shoulder and elbow back, I think about doing it in unison. Shoulder and elbow back. Shoulder and elbow back in unison. Okay? I can feel that. I'm not cheating when I'm doing 220 for 20 or 250 for 10. I can feel it, right? I can feel it. And it's getting stronger. There's two things: wear straps and increase your standards. If you came in here with me and I gave you a 150-pound dumbbell, I'm pretty sure most of you would be able to row that for 5 reps, even if it was a little bit of slops, a little bit sloppy. Increase your standards. And don't fear elbow drive. Is it worth training to failure? The whole thing, that's scary. That whole statement scares me. Failure is not something we want a blanket statement. Rotational exercises for general strength, right? It's not for maximal progressive overload. Hell no, right? No. You do not want to train any prehab or rehab in exercise like this anywhere near failure. James Earl Jones would be a good narrator for Massive Omnibus. You know, I have a piece of software that learned my voice, and I'm using this for audio. I'm not kidding you. As long as you have an hour of you speaking, it learns your voice and how you speak. And I use this already to create like voiceovers just for fun. I mean, we're not trying to fool anybody, but I'm going to use it for my audiobooks. I'm going to use an AI voice generator of me. Some people might find that weird, but I don't have time to read a million words and do all the recording. It's just going to save a lot of time. But I mean, I could use one of the fake canned voices. Like if you listen to an audiobook and it's not the author, you know, it's some reader. What's the difference, right? Would you rather have me reading? I don't know. I'm not trying to be scandalous or fool anybody, but you could literally take, if you had an hour of audio of anybody, Joe Biden, James Earl Jones, you could literally train this audio platform to learn that voice, and it would sound pretty much 99% like it. Reading anything. Hey, Big Carl, how's it going? CKT Mexico recommended you as a speaker for the next. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. The TZ Collective is the Trainerize Collective. And I was the Trainerize. Trainerize is the top coaching app in the world. And I won their Coach of the Year last year. I got to be on their collective. I appreciate that. I'm kind of different, you know, from the average trainer. I'm an older dude, obviously. I'm not I don't look all spit shined and abtastic, right? So just for me to be able to speak at these things is like a complete honor. I've always been a little bit anti in my life, anti-establishment, questioning things. It's that punk nature in me, and for me to be able to speak at those and not be like Mr. Spit Shine, perfect haircut, perfect tan dude, I absolutely enjoyed it. Big Jonathan, happy Friday, big hairy ugly dude on cable back up, unwind on triceps rope extensions. If you say the last 5 reps, you don't extend the rope outwards from the bottom, but are able to push it down. Any rep you complete counts. Okay, you don't extend the rope outwards at the bottom. I would have to see what you're talking about. Like a rope extension, you're pushing down and you're getting full extension. Are they half reps? Are they not complete reps? Drew, index. What muscles benefit most from the stretch? Don't go down this rabbit trail. You're going down a rabbit trail of optimization. Don't overthink your exercise selection. Use a quality group of exercises. There are some bicep exercises that I do that have a stretch, but we can't worship the stretch. You can't worship the stretch. The body is a complex mechanism, and there are things on a squat that are being stretched. There's things on a deadlift that are being stretched. Don't go down this. Don't go down the rabbit hole of confusion. Muscles benefit from a quality group of exercises pushed progressively. That's all you need to worry about. On back, when somebody is, I'm not anti-stretch. I'm anything that will give you a better focus. On a seated cable row, I want a slight back stretch. Not because I worship the stretch, but it shows that you're locked in, you're good form. You're not just jerking things around. You're being very methodical. You're getting full extension, slight back stretch. It helps you connect with the muscle. It's not like the stretch is magic in that sense. On a easy bar curl, I want you to almost relax the bar at the bottom. That way you're not doing the quick turnaround. And then you start from a full, extended, semi-stretch position, right? Martin, can you talk us through how you approach progression when the next increment of weight is out of reach, but reps have got too high? Well, that's a very specific case, and I would need a very specific example. But let's say you're doing cable crossovers, and I've had this, excuse me. Let's say you're doing cable crossovers, and I've had this happen on certain cable crossover machines, where you're doing 50s on each side, and you're able to get to 15s, 3 sets of 15. But 60s, you're only able to get like 3 or 4. The only real options are, do I keep this exercise? Because at some point, if you're training long enough, you're going to run into hold steady exercises that are going to almost be impossible to progress on anymore. You might be able to get little bits and pieces over the next 10, 15 years, but you're going to run into things that you're not just going to progress anymore. Either due to the equipment or due to your strength levels or whatever. I haven't really, excuse me, progressed on lat pull downs in forever. I've gotten strong. It's just a lift that's hard to progress on without cheating. On hold steady lifts, you either need to decide to keep them in and just hold steady at that weight, or you need to dump them. Because you have to deal with the physics of the exercise. I know, like on a dumbbell bench, you should be able to progress linearly, rather linearly, meaning if you hit 3 sets of 12 with the 60s, you'll be all right on the 65s, unless you're one of the outliers. So there's very few exercises like this. We need to know specific cases, and in most cases, you need to ask yourself whether it's worth continuing with the exercise. Frederic, I'm considering switching up to a body part split. Will the soreness be a lot worse? If you have any history, reasonable history of training, I don't think it'll be a lot worse. You might notice a little bit of difference in soreness, but then you have like a week to recover. So I would probably ease into things with 2 sets per exercise just as a feeler and kind of ease up into things, if that makes sense. What exercises would you focus on to build the widest back and the biggest chest? A quality group of exercises. Anything that I put in my workouts. A quality selection of exercises. Deadlifts, dumbbell and barbell rows, seated cable rows, pendlay rows, pull-ups, lat pull-downs, machine rows, T-bar rows. A good selection of exercises for back. Chest, a barbell, a dumbbell, a machine, and a pet exercise, a barrel press, dips, whatever. Ratio is a 12-inch drop attainable. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think my chest was above that. I don't know. I never really measured my chest a lot. Don't hate. I'm just an arm and leg guy. But back in the day when I was at my leanest, I'm pretty sure I had above 12, so I think so. Take nutrition out of it. If you were to build your ideal burrito, what would be in it? Oh, well, fresh jalapenos, not the pickled. Pickled onions, not the fresh. A little bit of rice. Probably a mixture of meat. I like to have a little bit of mixture of meat. Regular beef, ground beef, chicken. And then you need a little queso blanco. A little bit of good salsa. Cilantro. What are we missing, folks? What are we missing? A little bit of black beans, of course. Black beans are love. You need a little bit of black beans. I'm trying to think I'm missing anything. You got your fresh jalapeno. You got your pickled onions. You got your zippy spice of salsa. You got your queso blanco. Oh, yeah, we need a little bit of avocado or guacamole. Black beans. I don't know. I think that's about it. Am I missing anything? Big Tim, how's it going, Tim? Good to see you. Me and Tim go way back. Happy Friday. Thoughts on the individual arm day after doing? Yeah, I do this a lot with my clients. We do what's called a junk day. So I usually put it like on a Saturday, but it can be on whatever day you want. And a junk day could be optional. You can do some extra work. You can really do whatever you want. I usually end up doing arm work. You can toss in rear delts. You can even calves, abs, shruggies, whatever didn't fit in during your training week, you could, fit in. So I'm all for it. Like we sometimes try to do more work for the big hitting body parts and less for the small, because it's a bigger body part, we should do more, and a smaller body part, we should do less, right? Well, yeah, when you're structuring your basic program, your weekly volume, you obviously want to put more focus on the big hitters first. But if you have more time, you can add extra focus on the small hitters, because the big hitters like chest and back, you're using really big exercises to smash them. With like triceps and biceps, you're generally using a lot more less impactful exercises to smash them. So you could do an equal amount of volume if you have time, but understand that it's not, the volume isn't equal, because on the chest, you might be doing barbell bench and dumbbell bench and dips and machine chest press. Really big hitters. On triceps, you might be doing a seated press down, cable tricep extensions, skull crushers, jam press. Still good exercises, but they're not quite as impactful from a brutality standpoint. Does that make sense? So you can do a little bit extra work for arm day. Bacon. Good morning, big, hairy, ugly dude. Just finished up leg day. Good, man. I'm glad to hear it. Big Johnny Parker. I do mostly compounds. If I wanted to work on some weak areas, am I better off doing the weak areas? 2 exercises on one day. There's no magic, my friend. Always look at things in terms of a weekly volume standpoint. That's the best way to frame things. You space them out however makes sense for you, but always look at things in terms of a weekly volume. Big Mitchell McDouglas. The coming year, I can only train twice a week. You will make gains, my friend. You will. Take that fear away. If you are training hard and you're nailing your nutrition and you're nailing your progressive overload, you can make gains. You can make good gains. You're going to have different seasons in your life over the course of 5 or 10 years. Where people stumble is that they get afraid. You want to maximize everything you do over that 5 to 10 year window. If you do that, you're going to be in a good place. What's the other option, Mitchell? I say this respectfully. You can only do twice a week. What's the other option? Quit? No, you're not going to quit because you're Mitchell McDouglas. Okay? You're going to kick ass and take names. You're going to maximize those 2 training days a week until they weep. You're going to make those 2 training days a week so impactful. When you walk into the gym, you're shitting thunder and spitting lightning, and everybody in the gym is like, who the fuck is this? Right? That's who you're going to be. You're going to be Mr. Maximizer. You're going to get everything you can out of every rep and every set. And if you're only crushing 2 days a week, over there in the corner of the gym are the bunch of knuckleheads, unfocused, doing shit programs, no progressive overload, and their diet is absolute crap. You are going to crush results compared to them. Don't be afraid. If you give me a toothpick, a rubber band, and a beer bong, and that's all I had to train with, I'm going to find a way to get the most out of them I can. And I'm being facetious, obviously. You want to be a monster. You want to be the guy that's going to show you how to get the most out of 2 days a week of training, and you will make gains. Big Stevie Bush. What do you think of Doyle from Misfits physique now, and how might we maintain it? Okay, let me pull up a reference picture. Okay. I think I got a good picture. I want to put a picture up here so people knew who we're talking about. Okay. All right, I think we got a good picture. There we go. Now, might he take a little TRT? Maybe a little bit of a bump. This is just a lot of mass, super lean. You want to get this level of mass, you got to train like me. You got to train like the horse, right? You have to train the massive iron weight. That's going to pack on quality, dense muscle mass, and to get lean, you just then need to do a quality cut and get that lean. It's all, number one, it's all about the mass. That's going to require time and brutality, right? And then from there, you just get cut and try to maintain it. It's as simple as that. There's nothing different in Doyle than what we're talking about every day. Nothing different other than his degree of leanness. But he might use some stuff to help him keep down. I don't know. Big John Paul was a beast until 2022, and last January I tried doing dippies. So far I can do 3x12 and fell in love with it. Can I replace? No. Wait, just do dips and incline. Okay, I thought you were going to drop out barbells completely. You can do dips and incline. I would add in a third exercise, though. I would add in a dumbbell at minimum. I'm glad you like dips. That's good. I would have incline bench and a dumbbell. Marcus, thoughts on training legs once a week? Yeah, it sounds good, man. Absolutely. Nothing wrong with that. Get after it, make it count. Good plan. After my cut, I plan to bulk at least half a pound a week. Half a pound a week. You want to bulk 2 to 2.5 pounds a month. So you're right in that lane. That's reasonable. Absolutely. You get above that when you're above 3 pounds a month. And over the long run, you're not going to get any more muscle building benefit from it, but you're just going to accrue a lot more fat. Big Timmy, when in a deep cut, should I expect strength loss? Yeah, I mean, most likely in the presses because they get hit hardest. If it's a prolonged cut, you're going to see some strength loss in your squats and deadlifts. The more strength you have, the more potential you're going to lose some of that during a cut. Like if you are coming up in strength and you only dumbbell bench 35s right now, there's a good chance that if you lost 100 pounds, you might be dumbbell benching 65s or 70s at the end because you're going up. So there's room. If you're dumbbell benching 100s and you're losing 100 pounds, there's a chance they might go down to 90s. Less glycogen, less energy, is there a chance you're going to get that back when you're done? Yeah, of course. But the biggest thing you can do on a cut is focus on safe effort rather than, am I losing a rep here and there? You got to get the weight off and then get back to building in a safe, smart zone, if that makes sense. Big Sam. Let's say you had a lot of fat to lose. That 20 pounds is actually not a lot of fat at all. I'm not correcting you. I'm just saying that's actually a very reasonable amount of fat. I've been tracking all calories. And as a 225/64, I've stopped losing fat. You need to reduce your calories. Number one, we want to maximize food volume. So you want to probably increase your protein to at least 35% of your calorie intake. Number two, you want to probably dial your fat intake down to 20%. Not because fat is bad. Fat is just very calorie dense. So by making protein 35% or more, reducing fat down to 20%, you're maximizing your food volume. But when you come to the point where you're not losing, don't do a dramatic change, but drop it down to 2,100 for a week, and let's see if we can get that train moving. Richard, what do you think of HLM, heavy, medium, light? HML can be applied different ways. You have a heavy, a medium, and a light workout. Usually what we're doing is we're varying the exercises. So if you're doing an HML full body, your heavy might be bench, your medium might be machine chest press, and your light might be pec deck. If you're doing HML on a full body, your heavy for legs might be squats, your medium might be hack squats, and your light might be leg extensions. Does that make sense? You can do an HML periodization plan on a specific lift. So you might do heavy bench at 5s, medium bench at 8 to 12s, and high bench or light bench at 12s. Increase or reduce the weight, same. If it's the same exercise, I'd have to see what you're trying to do. HML can be it's usually in context of a full body. But when you look at programming in general, you're going to have a scale, which is going to kind of shake out to be HML anyway. You're going to have, if you're putting in 4 exercises for quads, whether it's a full body or upper lower or whatever, you're going to have a heavy, which is squats. You're going to have medium, which are like hack squats. You're going to have lighter, which is our relatively lighter, like lunges or leg extensions. Does that make sense? Big Sam. When transitioning from a cut to a bulk, should you keep the same split exercise? Yeah, you don't need to change anything. The only thing you don't want to do is train above 85%. You don't want to go super heavy because your glycogen's lower, your energy's lower, and you don't want to be doing really intense, heavy work under those circumstances. It's just not a good idea. Do we need to be paranoid and say you're going to get injured? No, not inherently, but it's just not a good idea. I'll probably save the really big intensity techniques on a cut like rest pause or drop sets for the building stage. You know, we're more holding pattern. Let's be reasonable, stay safe, get the cut done, and then apply the big effort for the building stage. Bacon. People focus on what is optimal, like optimal is in a vacuum. Absolutely. Everyone has a different anatomy, and what works for someone won't always work. That is the gospel. Amen. Everybody give them an amen. Optimal is a fairy tale. It doesn't exist. Optimal is maximizing what you can on that day. There are days I go in here and I feel like crap or I'm tired. And I can't maximize every set of squats. That's not being inoptimal. That's doing what you can on a daily basis. Optimal over the long run is not perfect every day. So amen to that. Halo, New Vegas. What are your thoughts on sandbag training? Sandbag training falls into what we would consider conditioning work. You have your conventional hypertrophy stuff, and then you have the other stuff you can do. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying you couldn't use a sandbag exercise in a hypertrophy program, but it would have to be hyper-focused. Does that make sense? And you would need to be able to progressively overload it. But we have conventional hypertrophy. And then you have stuff you can do for conditioning or general strength. Kettlebell swings and sandbag training and sled drags, and nothing wrong with that stuff. Nothing wrong with doing calisthenics. But we have to compartmentalize and understand you have hypertrophy training and you have conditioning training, right? Two different things. But you're going to say, hey, there's a kettlebell guy that only did kettlebells and he's big. Yeah, because he progressively overloaded, and you could have a sandbag guy that only did sandbags and you'd be like, but he's big. Well, then he did progressively overloaded those sandbags and had a pretty darn intense program. But it's very rare. It's more general conditioning work. Bacon. It's always annoying when someone starts a claim with a study and says like one study means something. Yeah, and you see it all the time. I don't look at Ryan Humiston's videos very often anymore, but I just saw new study says, whenever you see that, okay, that's always interesting, thanks, but new study is going to change the way we train. if somebody says it should, they're wrong. We should train conventionally. Steve, you recommended a belt from Strength Shop last week. I went online and found the belt was 50% off, and it arrived already. That's great news. I'm going to show everybody I have no affiliation with Strength Shop. I want you guys to go over there and tell them the big, hairy, ugly dude sent you. Okay? I get nothing out of it. But this is just like, I hate these pop-up ads. If you're looking for a belt, you want to get a 10 millimeter single prong. You don't need a belt thicker than 10 millimeters. It's just not, we don't need it, right? We're not the Incredible Hulk. Anything more than a single prong or double prong is just a pain in the boot, pain in the butt to get, locked in. This is a pretty good deal for $74. If they had a belt for 50% off, good grief, that's cheap. This belt will last you as long as you need it to last, unless there's a weird defect. So, Strength Shop, 10 millimeter single prong. If that is truly 50% off, that would be a wonderful. I don't know where their coupon was. I don't know. Home. I don't know how you got it for 50% off, but that's wonderful. You got lever belts. I don't have any problem with lever belts. But anyway, enough about that. Imagine doing odd exercises in the gym that these science-based lifters are promoting. That looks gimmicky. However, these same lifters cannot squat. That's the thing, man. I mean, that's why we have to look at a quality selection of exercises. That's always going to be the most important thing. Adams family, how are you doing? What's your opinion using false grip on standing overhead? I tried it today because everything around my shoulder level is too tight. If it feels comfortable, use it. This falls into the category, is it a reasonable exercise? Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. Does it have a good progression opportunity? Yeah, then use it if you like it. Reasonable, right? Common sense. Big progression opportunity. These are the important things. Big Jimmy. On my way to slang some iron around RDLs, Pendley rows, and let those squats. Get it, man. Have a good workout. How to do cardio with calisthenics. You won't overload the muscle. The biggest misconception in fitness is that the body is fragile, and if you do too much, you lose gains. This is all bullshit, folks. It's all incredible bullshit. Look at the top-level athletes, rugby, football, whatever, baseball. They're all in really good shape. All have a reasonable degree of muscularity. You're not going to lose gains if you do calisthenics. You're not going to lose gains if the body's going to acclimate if you run. You're not going to lose gains if you do MMA. You're not going to lose gains. This is all nonsense. The body is not that fragile. There will be a break-in period, likely, but the body is not fragile. Wow, we've had a lot of viewers on consecutively today. I'm really happy. I appreciate everybody's support. Please come back every Friday and just slam me with questions. I love this. And the new Power Muscle Hell rep goal system is every set maximized. Yes. We don't talk about failure in the massive iron world. I have a new program that I gave away for free. And if you still want it, you can go over to the Instagram post and just comment hell. Okay, it's recent. I have an auto delivery system that'll send the program to you via DM. It's free, okay? No strings. I'm also going to be giving away a free 49-page PDF this weekend on the new Massive Iron Pillars of Success. This is a really quality ebook. You guys want to see it? I'll get into that in just a second. I'm going to be giving that away free this weekend, so watch for it. On Instagram at Ben the Barman. Now, we don't talk about failure in the massive iron world. We talk about maximum safe quality reps. Live to fight another day. Very nice. And push a set until you feel like you might fail on the next rep or when your form starts to break down. I'm going to be giving, all right, I'm going to take a break here for a second. Don't go away. I'm going to show you guys what I'm going to be giving away for free this weekend on Instagram. No strings attached. Okay, it's uploading. I put this together this week. And if it ever loads, it's a 49-page PDF. Okay. This is what it looks like. This is going to be a free PDF. It's an excerpt from my massive omnibus series. And you can head over to my website, superlivingtoday.com, to get all the omnibus books. But this is one small excerpt, okay? It contains the information on the pillars of success. We get into the initial, what were the old pillars of success in my first book? And we had 5 of them. This book was put out about 5 years ago. Now we're going to get into the 10. Over the last 10 years, I expanded them. Consistency, progression, patience, nutrition, training, evolution, hard training, reasonable volume, quality exercise selection, staying healthy, and passion. And it's going to get in. You literally have quality information. This is a 49-page, I think. Here's page 49. Oops, there's page 50. It's a 50-page PDF. I'm going to be giving this away for free on Instagram this weekend. Watch for it. Please follow me on Instagram @BenTheBarman. All right, where were we? Jonathan, what do you call it when a cow grows facial hair? A moustache. All right, good dad joke. Personal, what's the leanest you've ever been? The leanest I've ever been was when I got out of basic training, and I had pretty low body fat percentage. I don't know, because I was in basic training, but I was pretty carved and diced and had the serious six-pack going on. Most of my training time I held between probably 14 and 16% body fat. I don't know if I can find some pictures really quick. Let's just see if I can do Skinny Steve, or let's try in 1989. Hold on, we'll try to find a photo posted by you. Oh, here we go. So it's not the greatest photo, but this was along my journey of lifting right before, let's see. Okay, here we go. It's just around. I don't have a lot of photos. Okay. On the left, that was me, probably about 16. You can see I got long ass arms. You can see I got a little definition on my lower chest. I don't know what that was, 14 and a half, 15. Big ass dad calves. What an ogre I looked like. Those long ass arms and those dad calves. I don't know. That's somewhere in the lifting journey from way back when. Looking like a douche cookie. But I don't know. You can see the lower chest definition a little bit. Why do turkeys play percussion? They have drumsticks. Perfect. How tight should form be on dumbbell row? Well, you want to focus on driving the elbow and shoulder back. At the same time, that's what I focus on. And you don't want to get sloppy where you're just flinging the weight, like trying to, but you want to be powerful. You don't want to lead with the torso and then drive the elbow back, right? You want to drive the elbow and shoulder back, and then the torso can rotate a little bit from that. Jonathan, how do you make a tissue dance? You put a little boogie on it. When I go heavy on dumbbell row, my body tends to twist. Yeah. The thing is, a bad dumbbell row, you see the torso rotate and then the elbow drive, right? That's sloppy. On a good dumbbell row, you lead with the elbow and shoulder drive, and then the torso can rotate a little bit as you contract. Does that make sense? Is cardio bad after lifting? Anybody that says it on YouTube, you need to press the unsubscribe button because they're an idiot. You can quote me. You can go tell them they're an idiot. The body's not that fragile, and they're naive. The whole body is fragile. There's no downside. If you are training hard, there's nothing bad's going to happen. This is utter nonsense. Big Cosmic Bear. What would you do if you had a tough work last week and spotty sleep, but now you got to do a brutal? I'd go do it. I do not care how I feel. Now, if you need to adjust in the gym, maybe reduce a set or whatever, I've had 100 days like that. And you, my friend, do not care how you feel. Have you coached athletes outside of strength sports? Yeah, I have MMA fighters, boxers. I have somebody from Australia that competes in Australian rules football, believe it or not. I have people that play softball and baseball and basketball. Absolutely. Strength training and muscle building is going to be pretty much the same thing for any sport, base building wise, if that makes sense. When doing Pendley rows at the exact time, Big Billy Baker's doing Pendley rows when I'm doing a rant. So, yeah, that's probably good timing. How do you get to a 315-pound bench? Hire me as a coach. I have a lot of bench. Check out my book, Massive Omnibus. There's so much information in there. Baseline, you need to be consistent. You need to have a quality bulk. You need to have a good exercise selection. You need to be patient. There's no magic way. Dude next to me is pausing his sumo deadlift about halfway up. Nothing wrong with that, but let's kind of build a base before we, it's like trying to fly a fighter jet before you're even a licensed pilot. Let's just kind of slow down a little bit. The halting deadlifts, there's nothing wrong with them. I just think there's better things you could do with your time if you want to build up your deadlift base. We'll leave it at that. All right, to keep tendons healthy, what do you recommend? Being reasonable with your training, living to fight another day, not punishing your training, but doing it smart, listening to your body and resting when you need, and building up your overall strength. That's going to build up your tendon and connective tissue strength. I don't do any bands or strap work. Any 2 forearm exercise you would recommend? The biggest one I like is the wrist roller. Now, you can buy a wrist roller and you can keep it in your gym bag. You can do it at home. You don't need to do it at the gym. But a wrist roller is really, really good for this meaty part of the forearm. Absolutely excellent tool. And you can progressively overload it ad infinitum. The next thing, I think, if you want my honest opinion, I like the Captains of Crush grippers. You can do those anywhere. You can take those in your gym bag. I mean, you can do wristy curls and reverse wristy curls, and there's nothing wrong with them. But I think the best bang for your buck when it comes to forearm training is a wrist roller, just grinding away on the wrist roller, or progressively overloading. Just feels great on my forearms. And you're getting both top and bottom of that forearm. And then the Captains of Crush grippers, you can just take them anywhere. You can do as many reps as you want. How do you fix a good morning squat? Number 1, send me a video. That's the best way, so I can help you. A video from behind. Number 2, most people don't have the angle of their feet with the angle of their knees. Their knees kind of collapse as they descend, and there's nothing to do but good morning. A lot of times your stance is too wide or your knees are in as you descend. Send me a video from behind. I'd like to take a look. If I'm rested enough, can I do it? Yeah, absolutely. The key is, am I rested enough? You can do anything you want. The one thing you want to do is give yourself the freedom to insert an extra rest day. We don't want to stick to something just because we made a plan, and now we got to stick to it because we made a plan. It's okay to insert an extra rest day. So give yourself the freedom to adjust on the fly. Does that make sense? I'm planning to do your recent 12-week bench specialization. Excellent, man. I'd love to hear how it goes. When should I start lowering volume on other work? If you do want to do a 1-rep max attempt, probably the last week 2 or 3 out, you could reduce sets to 2 on assistance work if we really want to reduce fatigue. And then 1 week out, reduce assistance work set to 1, but use the same weight. So you're coming in a little bit more fresh. Does that make sense? Let me know if you need any more help on that. Bubba Snausages knows how to bulk. Bubba Snausages, my wiener dog, does know how to bulk. He's a unit. We got about 6 questions left, guys. So if you have any more questions, get them in now. For heavy, medium, light, I've seen people do it on the same exercise. Yep, you can do it on the same exercise. Absolutely. Or you can rotate different exercises. There's no right or wrong way. It just depends on the bigger picture of your program. Big Cosmic Bear. No hack squat at my gym. I already do squats and liggy press. What is a good replacement for the hack? Lunges would be my next, alternating lunges. You can do them in place. You don't have to do walking lunges. I like to do right, left, right. Very brutal. When you do them properly, they're going to be a very big quad builder. Speaking of pet peeves, Milo Wolf kind of put them in his junk exercises, which is one of the most ridiculous statements I've ever heard in my 38 years of lifting. Somebody called lunges an inferior muscle building exercise. I just want to insert slapping with sound effect. Right? What, Milo? What? Lunges. Strength Shop is great. I have a prong and lever belt. Glad to hear it, man. What's your opinion on RDLs? RDLs will work your lower back. You just have to be really, really careful with them because you can push too hard to the point where you're going to really strain your lower back. So be really smart. Big Justin Jones. Do you recommend doing bulldozers? You could, yeah. I find I'm wasting too much energy. On a dumbbell exercise, if you're going to do rest pause, that's one of the downsides. So you have to determine. There's no magic doing bulldozer rest pause protocol. You have to determine if it has value for you. Getting the dumbbells down and back into place can be a real pain in the ass. So absolutely, there's nothing wrong if you want to do straight sets on them. I was disappointed with my new universal remote control. It doesn't control the universe at all, not even remotely. Very good. Very nice. Any new pieces of equipment in your gym? I need to get a safety squat bar. I've never had one in my gym. What else do I want to get? Oh, man, I'm trying to think. I'd love to get a glute ham raise. A reverse hyper. I just wish I had room. That's really about it. I'd love to get a seated calf raise. I don't mind doing calves. I just, it'd be nicer to walk over to a seated calf machine. Do you agree weighted calisthenics are the holy grail? No. No, they're not the holy grail. Holy grail is a quality group of exercises. Anybody saying that is very, very biased. There's nothing wrong with these lifts, but for a natural lifter, you need the stuff I teach on this channel. There's no special set of rules. Do you have a cambered bar? I'll show you what I have. Hold on 1 second. I'll show you what I have. 1 second, we'll pull it up. In the meantime, guys, we have about 3 questions left. So if you want to get something in, I have a rackable camber bar. And I'm just trying to pull it up so you guys can see it for reference. Present, share screen, rackable camber. This is what I have. It's a pretty good bar for 289. It's heavy duty. It weighs like 70, 75 pounds. The problem is there's no center knurling, which is a huge oversight by Titan. What I did was I got some tape from Amazon to put along the center that's kind of tacky. And I'm going to put that on the center because without that, this bar wants to slip. Do you suggest lunges with a barbell? If you have a safety squat bar, those would be my priority. If not, you could hold one dumbbell or a kettlebell or two dumbbells. Absolutely. Joshua, what angle for form checks on dead? Straight from the side, about a foot off the ground, if you can, straight from the side. That tells me the most. That's the best angle. If any of you guys want to do form checks, you can send me a video at any time on Instagram at Ben the Barman, or you can join teammassiveiron.com, teammassiveiron.com. Come join our community. You're able to do 4 form checks a week. Would you say the dumbbell split squat? No. Better. We don't want to get into the world of trying to say which is a better exercise. Are they both reasonable exercises? Yes. A split squat's reasonable. Smith machine squat's reasonable. I would say a Smith machine squat is a little bit higher on the impact scale. But when we're looking at putting together a quality grouping of exercises, if you wanted to alternate A-B between those, let's say you did squats and leg press and you want to alternate between your third exercise between dumbbell split squats and Smith machine, you could do that. I wouldn't, they're both good exercises. I would say the Smith machine has a slight advantage from an intensity. Aaron, good morning. Glad to have you here. Just finished a good lift. All right, guys, I'm going to wait for any more questions before I do so. Don't go anywhere. Just a reminder, this weekend, I have a special. If you want a custom workout, you can go to my website, Super Living Today, and search custom or search services, or just DM me or email me. DM me on Instagram at Ben the Barman or email me, benthebarman@gmail.com. If you order a custom workout this weekend, you will get a free Massive Iron t-shirt shipped anywhere in the world, any t-shirt off my site. Also, I'm trying to expand my coaching services. I have a few slots open. You can go over to the website, click the coaching tab. Every month after the first month is only $89.40, and I'm going to be with you every single day. A reminder, the $6.99 yearly coaching special is going away. This is for existing clients or new clients. Your last chance to get it. If you are a client in at the $6.99 right now, it's going to have to be deleted off my website in 2 weeks because I can't leave it up there. Somebody's going to find it, search for it. So if you are an existing $6.99 client and your year might be done in October or November or whatever, you got to get it now. We'll just start it at the end of that. If not, it's going to go up to $8.99. So that's for if you're a new client and you want to get in on the $6.99 special. That's a year of coaching for barely more than $50 a month. A great deal. I love to work with people in the long run. If you have any questions about it, just let me know. If not, you can go over to my website and search 699. All right. If someone runs a 4-day upper lower routine and they add in an arm day, no, not too much at all. Not at all. I have many clients who have a junk day or arm day at the end. It's only too much if you feel it's too much. The only thing I would recommend, though, is after an arm day that you rest before you do a back or chest training. Can form checks from a side view. A side view only tells me things I already know. Like side view, you can see bar path, and if it's moving forward, that's fine. But then we have to look at the back view to figure out why, and I pretty much know why already. So the back view is something that just helps more, a lot more. Do you train neck? No, there's no real reason to train neck. If you want to get a massive neck, if you train and build everything from head to toe as strong as you can in the next 10 years, your neck's going to get big. You don't even need to do anything. So I wouldn't waste any time. If you want to do neck training, fine. I personally wouldn't. You're able to see my questions. Everything I've seen from you, I have addressed. Sometimes on here, if your question is too long, YouTube won't show it. Sometimes there's a word YouTube doesn't like because it's YouTube. So if you think I missed anything, you got a couple minutes left. Post it up now. Try reformatting it, shortening it. But I've answered every question I see, and I'm not blocking anybody or filtering anything. Do you think box squats are overrated? 100%. They're not a bad exercise. They used to be a lot more popular. I don't think we need box squats. If you're going to do a squat, I'd rather have you just do regular squats. Box squats kind of teach the squat a little bit differently. I don't think for hypertrophy and what we're doing for muscle building, they're really needed. There's nothing wrong with them. I've done them over the years. I just don't think they're as valuable as regular squats, in my opinion. Matt Winning says box squats are great to help voice over it. I would counter that by saying box squats have the potential to give you knee tendonitis or quadriceps tendonitis. Because box squats, we tend to change our form, our natural squat form. We tend to sit back more and sit down. So whether we think about it or not, we are generally changing our natural squat form because the box is added in the mix. Our squat form is going to change a little bit. So that is not inherently bad. But what I found is that because we're changing the squat a little bit and we tend to go hips back more, we can place more stress, and there's an increased likelihood, in my opinion, of picking up quadriceps tendonitis. Why am I your worst client? The one who just got over the 2019 virus, and how can I stop sucking so bad? And also, how can I tell if Mr. O should add more sets to my arm work? I have no idea what's going on here. How can I tell if Mr. O should add more sets to my arm work? I'm not sure who Mr. O is, and I don't even know who you are. I don't have a worse client. All I have is good clients. Right? What percentage is best? Every client I have is a work in progress, and we're working together, so we don't have a worse client. I literally have no idea what that comment was, so maybe I'm not sure if you're being facetious or not. What percentage is best for both 6 sets of 6 and 5 sets of 5? There's nothing magical. You're gonna have to figure it out based on common sense. If you're doing a 6x6, I would probably start with something the first week as a feeler. I would start with something you could do 11 or 12 reps with. On a 5x5, I'd probably do something you could do 9 to 10 reps with as a feeler, and then adjust from there. Titan Fitness Safety, is that true? Their safety squat bar is $100. If so, I need to check that out. Let me just check. I got their safety squat bar page up right now, and I'm seeing $319. Does anybody have a link for that, just to verify for those that are watching? Because I am looking at this, and I got a couple $319. Let's go to the front page. $100 off our safety squat bar. Oh, $100 off. I rent that as $100. Okay. That's a pretty good price right there. $199. You can add that to the cart. And then you got the other stuff, and you go to secure checkout. And there's my address. Let's see. There's my Visa. Do they have like Shop Pay on here or whatever? We'll check that out later. Then you can find my address. I asked if Jeffrey Verity's physique was attainable. The elite guys is it attainable? I mean, you just don't know. I mean, he's like at the cream of the crop as far as physique goes. Can everybody expect to look like him? Probably not. Could you expect to get like 85, 90% of him and look amazing? Yeah, absolutely. For some people, squatting can forward bar paths still happen, even though you can have some minor forward bar path. Like you're looking at your squat from the side, and as you descend, the bar might move forward a little bit. Yeah, a little bit is okay. We all have different limb lengths and leverages, etc. So as you try to seek the depth, sometimes we can move a little bit forward. A little bit is okay, but excessive, we usually have to fix something. Have you considered putting a program on Bootcamp? I'm building my own app right now. We've been working on that, and it's actually an alpha. And my app, my training app, we're looking at putting together the best workout tracker in the world. And you're going to be able to use all my templates to build your own workouts. So I'm not going to put out the Massive Iron program. I'm going to give you the Massive Iron system in my app. And I've been using it for 6 months. We're in alpha right now, working out the bugs. You can build workouts in my world, right? So we're going to have a workout builder, if that makes sense. Much better than just giving you a program. We're going to, instead of giving you a fish, we're going to teach you to fish, so to speak. The Elite FTS safety squat bar, probably. The one thing I'll say about bars, though, is like, even if something's not the best, it's probably going to last you a long, long time. Sometimes I get people that see some bar I have in my gym and they're like, oh, you have the Titan Camber bar? That's crap. Well, it's actually not crap. It's like 5 years old and it looks like it's brand new. It might not be the elite bar, but it's going to serve you, really well. So always understand that. I knew Milo was full of crap when he said reverse Nordic curls are better. Most people can't even do reverse Nordic curl. Milo is an interesting creature. Sorry, fat fingers on my touch screen. How can I tell if I should add more sets of bicep work? If you're getting pretty sore, but you recovered after, you could do more. I mean, you want to ease into volume additions, right? You don't want to just say, I'm going to add in 6 sets. Add another exercise, something a little bit different than what you're doing. Add in hammer curls just to piss off Dr. Mike, right? And then tag him in your videos. Just a joke, folks. But add in 1 and then see how you recover and see if there's any downsides as far as your, your joints or whatever. Big Shawnee Mac, pros and cons versus longer lean bulks versus mini cuts. Does longer lean bulks lock muscle in more? Is there a higher risk of muscle? No, you're not really going to do it. The belief that you're going to lose muscle in a mini cut is completely wrong. You're going to feel a little bit glycogen depleted. You don't really lose muscle in the long run on any type of cut. Right? That's a complete fallacy. Even if you lost a couple grams or a couple ounces of muscles on a long cut, muscle memory is real. You're going to get that back immediately. It's not like you're going to lose pounds and pounds and pounds of muscle. That's nonsense. And I'm saying that to educate you guys. That's complete bullshit. Okay? You're going to feel flatter, but you're not going to lose muscle. And even if you lost a little bit of muscle memory is a real thing. It'll come back immediately. But you would never even lose any discernible amount of muscle. Visually, you wouldn't even be able to see it. It's so trivial. So how long you do a bulk really is a factor of how you handle cuts. The reason why I start people on a 4 to 5 month 10-pound bulk is because a 10-pound cut is pretty easy to nail. It's reasonable. It's not intimidating. You could do a 6 or 7 month bulk for 15 pounds and then do a 15-pound cut. If you can handle a 15-pound cut, you could do a 20-pound bulk over 8, 9 months, whatever, as long as you can cut 20 pounds. The only downside is you're going to be in a cut longer, right? If you're really rolling with your bulk, prolong it. Prolong it a few more months. The pad on the FTS safety squat bar is very durable. and this is where other bars degrade. That's fair. I don't have any personal experience with that, but I will say, for the average lifter, the pad is, might not be that big of an issue. It might not degrade. I don't know. Solid hamstring builders. Obviously, you have your leg curls, and obviously, you have your Romanian deadlifts. A couple of undervalued or exercises that aren't talked about. If you have a back extension station, you can do a glute ham on a back extension. If you search that on YouTube, glute ham on a back extension, I have a video, a tutorial. You can go to Massive Iron as well. You can do a single leg wall RDL. Search that, single leg wall RDL. If you don't want to load up a barbell, that's a good alternative as well. So those are really good options. How do I know if I'm crushing my bulk? Do you have a good program? Are you pushing most of your sets in that program hard to the limit safely? Are you accruing plus ones or progress over your last workout very consistently? Is your rate of weight gain at least 2 pounds per month? If so, you are crushing a bulk. All right, guys, that's it for questions. I'm going to wait around for a few stragglers, get them in now. More volume does not equal more growth. It's an unrealistic, non-real world generalization. We do the amount of volume that makes sense for us when it comes to recovery and our time demands. If you are recovering and you're training hard and you want to add in a little bit more volume, then you can. But the difference over 10 years between somebody doing 4 days of training and somebody doing 5 days of training is really going to be nothing at all. It is. That's the real world of lifting. Over the long run, all these little things don't matter as long as you're consistent. All right, guys, that's it. We are out of here. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Please head over to Instagram. Don't forget about my $6.99 coaching special, 2 months left of that. And if you want a custom workout, you get a free t-shirt this weekend. All right, guys, that's it. Come back next Friday. You guys had amazing questions this week, and we are out of here.
You're not almost there. You're not almost there. You're not almost there.